Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will serve you the tea. And trust me, this is piping hot. You know what time it is. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a story that's been quietly simmering, but now it's fully boiled over. We're talking about Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker, whose divorce has officially turned from a private, respectful split into a full-blown courtroom war. I've been watching this patiently for a while, because if there's one thing Kandi does not play about, it's her reputation, and more importantly, her money. And let me tell you, this time, the gloves are off. What was once whispered behind closed doors is now out in the open for everyone to see. Custody battles, child support fights, and a prenup dispute that could literally shake Kandi's multi-million-dollar empire. And if that's not dramatic enough, Todd seems to be living his best life in front of the cameras, while Kandi claims it's all a facade. So grab your popcorn because we are about to unpack this messy, messy story. But first, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you never miss any updates on this case or any of the other big celebrity stories we cover here. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with what sparked the most recent drama. On January 8, 2026, Kandi Burruss, legally listed as Kayla Tucker in court, filed a motion for a temporary hearing on parenting time and child support in Fulton County Superior Court. Now, this isn't your run-of-the-mill filing. Kandi is asking the court to step in before the divorce is even finalized, because, according to her, Todd is not doing what he's supposed to do as a parent. She claims he's not contributing financially to their children's expenses, he's interfering with her parenting time, and he's creating a misleading public persona online while leaving her to handle all the financial responsibility. For context, Kandi and Todd share two children together, Ace, born in 2016, and Blaze, born in 2019. And let's be real, raising two young children in today's world is not cheap. According to Kandi's filing, the kids have significant monthly expenses that include but aren't limited to nanny and childcare costs, tuition, extracurricular activities, birthday parties, medical care, travel, and daily living expenses. And here's the kicker. Kandi says Todd hasn't contributed financially to any of it. In fact, she claims he has been jet-setting around the world, posting from tropical locations, and giving the public the impression that he's an involved dad. But Kandi's court documents say this is all a show, a carefully curated image that doesn't reflect the reality at home. Her motion details that Todd has failed to support the children since she filed for divorce, leaving the sole responsibility on her shoulders. And it's not just about money. Kandi alleges that Todd has interfered with her parenting time. For instance, during the recent Christmas holiday, she says Todd tried to prevent the children from traveling to New York to visit her, even though she had already covered the travel costs and given him plenty of notice. According to the filing, Todd's behavior isn't just inconvenient, it's petty, calculated, and harmful to the children. Kandi is now asking the court to intervene and establish a temporary parenting schedule, define holiday arrangements, ensure she gets spring break with her children, and award temporary child support. This isn't minor legal drama. These are serious allegations that courts in Georgia take very seriously. And Kandi is sending a clear message: she's done playing nice, and she will fight for her children's financial and emotional well-being. Of course, Todd isn't just going to sit back quietly. On January 2, 2026, he filed an answer and counterclaim in response to Kandi's motion, and let's just say he's coming in swinging as well. Todd is now seeking custody of the two minor children, claiming that Kandi works out of state and that he should be considered the primary caregiver. He's asking the court for both temporary and permanent custody, as well as final decision-making authority over the children's upbringing. In other words, this is no longer just a financial dispute, it's a full custody battle. This makes things even more complicated because both parties are painting very different pictures of parenting. Kandi claims Todd barely contributes financially or otherwise, aside from posting Instagram videos portraying himself as the ultimate hands-on dad. Todd, on the other hand, argues that he is the primary parent and that his involvement in the children's daily lives is critical. This discrepancy between perception and reality is what makes family court cases like this so difficult. Judges have to carefully evaluate who is truly providing for the children's best interests, and that includes both time spent and financial support. Additionally, Kandi's motion specifically points out that Todd has multiple sources of income as a self-employed entrepreneur, yet he hasn't contributed fairly to the children's expenses. He doesn't pay the mortgage or other household expenses, and according to her filing, his involvement in day-to-day parenting is minimal. Meanwhile, the children are caught in the middle of this public conflict, which adds a layer of complexity and emotional weight to the case. To make matters worse, Todd has publicly presented himself as a perfect, involved father. Videos posted on social media show him taking the kids to school, helping with homework, and engaging in activities that portray a daddy daycare image. But Kandi alleges that these videos are misleading and don't reflect the reality of his contributions, which are sporadic and insufficient. It's classic image versus reality drama, and the court will have to sort out what is true. And if you thought custody and child support weren't enough, we need to talk about the prenup. Oh yes, this is where things get really sticky. Todd admits that he signed a prenuptial agreement on April 4th, 2014, the day they got married. But here's the catch. He claims the prenup should not be enforced because it was presented to him right before the wedding, without the presence of his attorney. This raises serious questions about whether it was fair or voluntary. Why does this matter? Because Kandi's prenup is what protects her multi-million-dollar empire, including her Bravo checks, music catalog, and various businesses. If the prenup is ruled invalid, suddenly Todd could claim a share of all of it. And he's not just going for custody, he's asking for alimony, child support, and an equitable division of assets. This means that this divorce isn't just a personal battle, it's a financial earthquake. We're talking potentially millions of dollars on the line, and that's why the stakes are so high. This is what turns a celebrity divorce into headline news. It's no longer about just splitting assets quietly, it's about who ends up with control over what, and who is financially responsible moving forward. Todd's attempt to challenge the prenup could reshape the outcome entirely. If he succeeds, it could significantly diminish Kandi's control over her own empire. And if he fails, Kandi walks away relatively unscathed financially. Either way, this prenup dispute adds a whole new layer of tension to an already explosive situation. So what does all of this boil down to? Essentially, this divorce is now centered around three main questions: who really raises the kids, who really pays for the kids, and who gets Kandi's money. Todd is claiming he is the primary parent, that he is the one providing care and guidance, and that he should have significant custody and decision-making authority. Kandi, on the other hand, is saying he barely helps and primarily posts for social media while she handles both the financial and emotional responsibilities of parenting. Todd says the prenup is unfair. Kandi says he agreed to it and she's not funding his lifestyle. And let's not forget, the court has to decide whether Todd's claims about parenting and financial contributions are truthful. They'll also need to determine whether the prenup holds. If it does, Kandi retains control over her empire and Todd may walk away with very little. But if it fails, Todd could claim significant portions of her assets. This isn't just drama, it's a high-stakes legal battle with real consequences for the children and both parents. It's also worth noting how public this case has become. Both Kandi and Todd have platforms and social media presence, which can complicate things further. When cases like this become public, every post, video, or social media claim can be scrutinized in court. That's why lawyers often advise celebrity clients to be extremely careful online. They could be inadvertently weakening their case. In this instance, Kandi is saying Todd's social media persona doesn't reflect reality, and the court will have to decide which side is telling the truth. However, now, for those who have been following, remember when we said this divorce was gonna get ugly? That was just a few days ago, and guess what? Todd proved us right. Kandi, on the other hand, tried to keep things cute. She filed a no-drama divorce settlement, extended well wishes, kept it kumbaya, all that good energy. But Todd, no. He hit back with a vengeance. He declared himself the primary parent, demanded emergency full custody, legal custody, and even tried to invalidate the prenup, claiming it was unfair and attempting to claim half of Kandi's empire. And to make matters even more absurd, he cited Bravo footage as part of his argument. Let me just stop here and say this. Todd might be dreaming if he thinks he can come for Kandi Burruss like this. Lover or hater, Kandi is Miss Atlanta. She is beloved by fans, respected by judges, and she has a support network and family that could rival any legal dream team. Todd, on the other hand, is out here coming up with what I can only call half-baked schemes. But Kandi? She clapped back hard, strategic, ruthless, and full of receipts. And we are going to unpack all of this because it is messy, iconic, and completely worth the tea. So let's start with Kandi's counterattack, because this is where things really get interesting. Kandi didn't just sit there quietly. She came back swinging. First up, she filed for a gag order, and if you don't know what that means, let me explain. A gag order in a divorce case is basically a court-issued way to keep either party from publicly discussing the case. Kandi is saying in no uncertain terms that she does not want Todd leaking anything, hinting, blogging, posting, or using the storyline for public leverage. She wants all financial disclosures, home addresses, and sensitive information sealed. This includes pleadings, exhibits, testimony, and transcripts, essentially a full blackout order. Why? Because she sees Todd's social media strategy and PR game as a genuine threat. And now let's talk about the prenup. Todd tried to claim it was invalid, alleging he was handed it right before the wedding and didn't have proper legal counsel. Classic invalidate the prenup move, right? But Kandi? She literally pulled out the receipts, y'all. The same attorney representing Todd in the divorce, Randall Kessler, also represented him during the prenup. And get this, the Bravo footage shows Todd discussing the prenup on camera with legal advice and agreeing to it. Kandi basically told the judge, "Roll the Bravo tape, Your Honor. He is lying." That's iconic. Todd thought he had a strategy to attack her financially, and Kandi completely destroyed it. So not only did Kandi block his PR game with the gag order, but she also undermined his financial claims before they even hit court. And let me just tell you, using reality TV footage as legal evidence is unprecedented. Television footage from a reality show used in court to invalidate a claim? Iconic. Todd literally thought he could weaponize that footage, and Kandi flipped it back on him. Her legal team has turned this into a lesson on how to protect both your financial and parental rights, while simultaneously disarming an opponent's PR strategy. This is the kind of legal chess that keeps viewers hooked for weeks. But Kandi didn't stop there. She also flipped custody entirely. Originally, Kandi was asking for joint physical custody, a fair approach for co-parenting, but now in her amended filing, she is asking for primary physical custody, meaning the children would live primarily with her and Todd would receive standard parenting time. This is a massive shift and sends a clear message. Kandi is asserting that she is the stable, present parent. Let's break this down. Kandi has been paying for a full-time nanny since the children were born. Her family lives nearby and is heavily involved in the children's care. Todd, on the other hand, doesn't have a comparable support system. The claim that he's the more stable parent? Completely undermined by the facts. Kandi also highlighted that both she and Todd travel for work, so the argument that she is absent is invalid. Her position is solid: historical care, financial support, family network, long-term childcare, all the things courts look at when determining custody. Todd's cosplay of Mr. Mom on social media? Cute for Instagram, but it doesn't hold water legally. Kandi also clarified that she wants joint legal custody, but the final say on education and health decisions. This directly undermines Todd's attempt to claim full authority over the children. She's protecting her parental rights while simultaneously positioning herself as the responsible, hands-on parent. Stability, historical care, and a strong support network, the trifecta courts consider essential in custody disputes. Todd tried to make a play for emergency full custody, thinking he could outmaneuver her, but Kandi's filing completely neutralizes his argument. It's textbook custody strategy executed flawlessly.
Now, let's talk about Todd's reaction, because it is dramatic. After Kandi exposed his prenup attack and emergency custody filing, Todd posted on social media calling on his deceased mother, saying he needs her now more than ever. Sweet, yes. Manipulative? Possibly. The timing couldn't be more obvious. Kandi just dismantled his two biggest claims, financial leverage and custody, and now he's asking for sympathy. Some see it as a heartfelt moment. Others might view it as an attempt to sway public opinion and pressure Kandi into a settlement. And y'all, let's be honest, Kandi anticipated this. That's why she filed the gag order. She's not just protecting her finances and legal standing, she's proactively preventing Todd from using the media, their children, or public sympathy to her disadvantage. She is controlling the narrative before it even hits the court of public opinion, and that's strategic. Todd's emotional posts might earn him likes and comments, but in a courtroom, they carry very little weight. Kandi's preparation, evidence, and legal strategy, that's what counts. Here's where this story gets truly unprecedented. Kandi used Bravo footage as a lethal weapon in her legal strategy. She literally told the court that Todd consulted with Rand Kessler on camera about the prenup and agreed to it. That on-camera discussion, which aired publicly, proves that Todd had legal counsel and knowledge of the agreement, completely invalidating his duress argument. This is genius. Reality TV footage as evidence isn't something you see every day, but in this case, it completely undermines Todd's entire financial attack. He thought he had leverage, he thought he could manipulate the court and public opinion, and Kandi's legal team turned his own history into a knockout punch. Using Bravo footage not only disproves his claim about being pressured, but also positions Kandi as a meticulous, prepared, and strategic litigant. She's not just playing defense, she's playing offense. At this point, make no mistake, this is no longer an amicable divorce. Todd declared war, and Kandi responded with a counter that is both defensive and offensive. She filed for primary custody, joint legal authority with final say, a gag order, and backed it all up with receipts and evidence. She solidified herself as the stable, present parent with a strong support network, while neutralizing Todd's social media narrative and emergency custody claims. This is full-scale parental warfare, and the stakes are high. Todd's aggressive attempts to invalidate the prenup and assert emergency custody have been neutralized. Kandi established stability, historical care, and a reliable support system, three factors that are critical in custody disputes. She blocked his narrative that she is always absent and protected the privacy of her family and children. Todd's plan backfired, and now he's left praying, public posts and all, as Kandi maintains control of the situation. Moving forward, there are several things to keep an eye on in this case. First, the judge will need to establish a temporary parenting schedule to ensure the children's well-being during the divorce proceedings. Second, the issue of temporary child support will likely be addressed, which will determine whether Todd will be required to contribute financially while the case is ongoing. Third, the prenup challenge could either be upheld or overturned, which would determine the ultimate division of assets. This case is a reminder of how complex divorce can be, especially when children and significant assets are involved. It's about far more than personal feelings. It's about financial security, parental responsibility, and the long-term impact on the children. And because both parties are public figures, this story has captured the attention of fans and media outlets alike. Every development is being watched closely, and the next court hearings could dramatically shift the narrative. All right, now that you're all caught up on the Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker saga, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this divorce and the legal battles over custody, child support, and the prenup? Who do you think has the stronger case, and what do you think will happen next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We always love hearing from you, and you know I'll be reading and responding. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you don't miss any updates on this case or any other big celebrity news. Stay tuned because this story is far from over, and you know we'll be here covering every twist and turn. Talk to you guys later. Bye.